Why does the United States still maintain 400 Minuteman nuclear silos scattered across the Midwest as one of the Nuclear Triad, especially when the Pentagon already operates the elusive Ohio-class nuclear submarines and the stealthy B-2 Spirit bomber? The answer comes down to two words: instant responsiveness. You see, ICBMs are the only leg of the Nuclear Triad that is ready to launch instantly, within minutes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. While submarines lurking deep underwater can face communication delays and bombers take hours to fly to their targets. But how are these weapons actually unleashed? It doesn't happen at the silo. It happens miles away in a buried launch control center. We're going to take you down the elevator into the underground capsule and walk through the chilling and the step-by-step process the crew must follow to launch these missiles. We'll also look at the engineering behind the re-entry vehicle, how the fuse triggers the nuclear reaction, and the devastating effects of this horrific weapon when it detonates above a city, all in the video ahead. But where exactly are these 450 missile silos located? They're scattered across 3 primary Air Force bases: Malmstrom in Montana, Minot in North Dakota, and Warren in Wyoming. Each base oversees hundreds of hardened underground launch facilities, all connected through a vast network of cables, tunnels, and command systems. These silos house the LGM-30G Minuteman III, an intercontinental ballistic missile with a range of over 8,080 miles, or roughly 13,000 kilometers. Early on, the Air Force determined that for reasons of efficiency and cost, 150 launchers should be concentrated in a single area whenever possible, and that no area should have fewer than 50 missiles. As a result, the Minuteman force was organized into administrative units called wings, each consisting of 3 or 4 squadrons of 50 missiles. Every squadron was further divided into 5 smaller units known as flights. Each flight had a single manned launch control facility that was remotely connected to 10 unmanned underground missile silos. A common misconception is that each missile has its own control center. In reality, the silos are separated from the launch control facility and from one another by about 25 miles. This spacing ensures that even if a launch facility were destroyed, the control center could still command and launch the remaining missiles in its network. But why maintain nearly 450 missile silos scattered across rural America? The answer lies in deterrence. The silos force any potential adversary to target hundreds of different locations instead of a single command post, making a successful first strike nearly impossible. It's a strategy known as the nuclear sponge, spreading targets thin to ensure survivability and guaranteed retaliatory capability. But why does America still rely on these Cold War-era technology? While the missile silos form just one part of the Nuclear Triad, alongside them are the Trident II-D5 ballistic missiles, launched from nuclear submarines patrolling global oceans, stealthy, undetectable, and always in motion. Then there's the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, capable of delivering nuclear payloads deep into enemy territory. Together, these 3 legs guarantee that no matter the circumstances, the United States can respond decisively to any nuclear aggression. But the Minuteman III was built more than 50 years ago. Although constantly upgraded, its technology lags behind modern threats. To replace it, the U.S. Air Force is rolling out the LGM-35 Sentinel, a next-generation intercontinental ballistic missile designed to serve deep into the 2070s. The Sentinel will feature advanced propulsion, improved hardening against cyber attacks, and a modular design allowing upgrades over time. But how do you fire these nuclear missiles? Well, for that you need the Launch Control Center. While this normal-looking building is the Launch Control Support Building, it sits above ground, serving as the main hub for logistics, daily support, and crew entry. Inside, you'll typically find about a dozen people, including a team of heavily armed security guards. To reach their underground posts, the 2-person Missileer team takes an elevator down a vertical shaft. This shaft leads to the hardened heart of the facility, giving the crew secure and rapid access to their station at any hour. At the bottom, they face a massive blast door. This is an armored barrier built to withstand nuclear shockwaves and keep out intruders. This capsule is shock isolated from the surrounding Earth, further shielding it from explosions and any man-made earthquakes. Inside, the Missileers begin their 24-hour alert shift, sealed off from the outside world. Because these shifts are long and isolating, the facility includes basic life support areas and sleeping quarters. But what if the site is hit by, say, a Chinese hypersonic missile? For this, even under direct attack, operations are designed to continue as usual. If the bunker is somehow damaged, there's a contingency in place. They have an escape tunnel. This tunnel is a sloped, cylindrical passage filled with sand, connecting the capsule to a secure hatch at ground level. If the main elevator shaft is blocked, the crew can use this tunnel to evacuate. The redundancy is vital. Shockwaves or debris from an attack could easily seal the primary entrance, trapping the crew underground. But there is a twist. Only those inside can open the escape hatch from below, ensuring that intruders can't use it to break in. As stated, the Sentinel is the new upgrade at a cost of $130 billion. But what makes it different and why could progress also bring you problems? At first glance, the Sentinel seems like a major leap forward. The heavy steel body of the Minuteman III is being replaced with a lighter carbon fiber casing. It comes with advanced guidance systems and a fully digital control network. It's smarter, faster, and designed to stay in service well into the 2080s. But here's the catch. The Minuteman III was an analog system. Its communication links ran through buried cables instead of wireless networks. To hack it, someone would literally have to dig up the wires near the control center, and even then, guessing which missile silo they connected to would be nearly impossible. The Sentinel, on the other hand, is fully digital and networked. It introduces automation and elements of artificial intelligence, improving efficiency but also exposing new vulnerabilities, that is, the digital ones. In theory, even the most secure system server can be targeted by hackers. That's why some experts argue the old analog Minuteman might still be the most hack-proof weapon ever built. Speaking of artificial intelligence, ever used an AI app and thought, that doesn't sound quite right? That moment is your signal. You're exactly the kind of person AI projects need. With Alignerr, you can earn anywhere from $40 to $150 per hour, with top contributors making up to $250,000 a year. Alignerr connects domain experts with cutting-edge AI projects to help shape how models think, reason, and respond. Projects cover a wide range of fields, including math, coding, law, language, science, business, voice talent, and more. The great thing is you can work remotely with no long onboarding process. You'll be matched based on your strengths. All it takes are a few simple steps, and soon you'll be on the Alignerr onboarding path. Just a quick reminder, Alignerr is competitive, and not everyone gets accepted. But if you do join, it could be life-changing, contributing to the AI revolution shaping the digital age. Alignerr also has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, with thousands of users getting paid every hour. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description to connect with cutting-edge AI projects. We have simplified the firing process in 6 simple steps. Step 1 is the president can send the codes from Air Force One jet, simply by calling and reading the codes from a paper. In Step 2, the missile combat crew unlocks to receive a coded emergency action message. They carefully decode it and authenticate the orders using a secure safe. There's no room for mistakes. Once verified, they prepare for Step 3. This is the flight plan and start the launch enable process by entering a unique unlock code switch located here from the message on the computer. This is Step 4 at a strict 2-person, 4-key system, ensuring both crew members must participate. This requires 4 hands. The crew activates the 4 launch switches to send and execute launch command to the missile. Then comes the critical moment. Both crew members simultaneously flip switches together to send the launch command. Just a reminder that the switches are almost around more or less than 6 feet apart. This cooperation prevents any single person from launching the missile alone. In Step 5, however, launching also requires confirmation from a second independent launch control center. Only when both commands are received does the system begin a 30-second terminal countdown. In Step 6, the missile will ignite and launch in 30 seconds. But how do these stages actually function? The moment the launch code is entered, the launch door opens, and the Minuteman III's first stage booster springs to life. Built from rugged steel, the motor casing is designed to endure the crushing forces and searing heat of liftoff. Inside, a thin layer of insulation protects the solid rocket propellant, the fuel that powers the missile's initial climb. At the top of this propellant sits the igniter, the spark that sets off the entire launch sequence. A hollow channel runs through the center of the propellant, serving as the combustion chamber. When ignited, this chamber becomes a furnace, unleashing a controlled explosion that drives the missile upward. From its silo, the first stage booster blasts out with around 200,000 pounds of thrust, hurling the Minuteman III to nearly 20 miles above the Earth's surface in a matter of seconds. Each stage is a carefully engineered step in a high-stakes journey, turning raw power into precise, unstoppable flight. But how does this missile actually stay on course? The secret lies in its onboard guidance system, a marvel of Cold War engineering. As the Minuteman III lifts off, its guidance computer springs into action. Using a gyro-stabilized platform, it constantly measures the missile's position, speed, and orientation, comparing every movement to the pre-programmed flight path. If the missile veers even slightly off course, the computer instantly calculates the correction and sends commands to the nozzle control units. These nozzles are the missile's steering wheel. The pair on the sides tilt up and down to control pitch, while the vertical pair pivots side to side for yaw and roll. All four work in perfect harmony, making tiny adjustments to keep the missile stable and locked onto its target. Thanks to this self-contained inertial navigation system, the Minuteman III doesn't rely on external signals. As the saying goes, the missile knows where it is because it knows where it isn't. The missile lifts off vertically. Almost immediately, it begins to rotate along its pitch axis to 45-degree angle and gradually tilting over toward its target. Throughout the flight, constant adjustments along all three axes, pitch, yaw, and roll, keep the missile locked onto its precise trajectory. Interestingly, the four rockets burns out in 60 seconds. At the right moment, an explosive charge in the interstage fires, cleanly blasting the first stage away from the missile and setting the stage for the next phase of flight. After the first stage burns out, the second stage ignites. This solid fuel booster features a titanium motor casing chosen for its strength and lightweight design. Generating up to 60,700 pounds of thrust, this stage propels the missile to over 300,000 feet, about 57 miles high, pushing it to the edge of outer space in less than 2 minutes after launch. Running along the side of the missile is a narrow metal conduit called the raceway. It houses wiring, sensors, and self-destruct charges, ensuring each stage can safely separate once its fuel is depleted. Between every booster stage are connecting structures known as interstages. These components hold the upper stages securely in place, protect the nozzles, relieve pressure between engines, and maintain a safe distance during separation. Now, after traveling for 2 minutes, the missile fairing or cover ejects, and you can see the kill vehicle or nuclear warhead. When the second interstage separates, an explosive kit disconnects the tension members near the third stage nozzle. Exactly 1 second after the third stage motor ignites, the interstage skirt is jettisoned, clearing the way for the next phase. The third stage booster burns through its fuel in just 60 seconds after ignition, powering the missile through the final stretch of its ascent. Running along the missile's side is a slender metal pipe, the raceway. Once the third stage's thrust ends, the guidance system triggers the thrust termination ordnance. This opens ports at the top of the motor, releasing pressure and creating reverse thrust. The result? The third stage slows down and cleanly separates from the post-boost vehicle. The Minuteman III's thrust termination system, called the All-Ordnance Thrust Termination System, features 6 evenly spaced ports at the motor's top. At the base of each port, a ring assembly holds a retaining ring, a linear-shaped charge, and supporting hardware. When activated, the guidance system sends a signal to the shaped charge, which cuts through the motor casing. Combustion gases escape through the ports, causing the third stage to decelerate and separate positively from the post-boost vehicle. When the missile receives its signal, the post-boost vehicle fires quick bursts from 16 small nozzles around its body. These tiny pushes help it steer through space and align with its target window. Once the guidance system sends the proper commands, the warhead separates both electrically and mechanically from the booster. But how does it steer if it does not have any wings and rudder? Well, just before entering the atmosphere, the spin gas generators ignite, spinning the warhead to keep it stable on its descent. And to evade enemy defenses, the Minuteman III carries 2 chaff dispensers, creating a confusing cloud that interferes with enemy radar and missile defenses. But what's really inside this re-entry vehicle? At the tip, you'll find a contact fuse for ground-based detonation. Behind that sits the switches, all connected to an analog computer. This is then connected to a battery ready to power up the bomb. At the heart of the warhead is a 2-stage system, the primary and the secondary. There's also a neutron generator to kickstart the reaction. When triggered by the front fuse explosives, the neutron starts the generation surrounding a beryllium-polonium initiator. This compressed the plutonium pit in the primary, setting off a fierce fission explosion and releasing a flood of X-rays. These X-rays shoot down to the secondary, where they initiate fusion between uranium-238 and lithium components, creating a massive release of energy. It's this blend of fission and fusion that gives modern nuclear bombs their immense power and efficiency. The result? A devastating blast radius of nearly 2.9 miles, and thermal radiation strong enough to cause third-degree burns up to 8 miles from ground zero. This is the submarine equipped with Trident missiles, the silent underwater leg of the Nuclear Triad. This is just the beginning, so keep an eye out for Part 2. And a quick side note, there are jobs for developers and STEM experts. So scan the QR code here or click the link in the descriptions.